What is happening in Jerusalem? Recent prophecies and events show us incredible things, but also suggest that the final events of humanity might be very close. Now, the Jews want to build a new temple. However, this idea has been a source of much debate for a long time. Will the Muslims allow it? What's happening now? Let's find out together. The Temple Institute is determined to construct the third temple, which is very important in Jerusalem. They have dedicated much effort to this, conducting extensive research and carefully recreating special items like the golden menorah and the high priest's breastplate exactly as described in religious texts. Even with Israel facing a very frightening war, the Institute believes it is the right time to start construction. They even have an interesting idea. They think that the war could somehow help make God's temple happen faster. So, imagine that while all this is going on, the Temple Institute is saying that now is the ideal time to begin building the long-awaited temple. They believe this war might be an opportunity for it to happen. It's quite a surprising idea, isn't it? But what exactly is happening in Israel amid all this? These events are leaving the world in awe. Israel is an incredible country located in the Middle East, surrounded by Lebanon to the north, Syria to the northeast, Jordan to the east, Egypt to the southwest, and the Mediterranean Sea to the west. Did you know that Israel's landscape is very diverse? It ranges from a large flat area near the sea to highlands in the north and center. Throughout history, civilizations and empires have lived in Israel since ancient times, including the Babylonians, Persians, Greeks, and Romans. A special thing about the Israelites is that they believed in only one God, unlike their neighbors who worshipped many gods. They had something called the Hebrew Bible, also known as the Tanakh, which is a set of sacred books. These books changed the world in an incredible way. They tell stories of people like Abraham, who was called by God to go live in Canaan, a land promised by God to Abraham, his children, and grandchildren forever. Their story is so special that it has inspired billions of people to this day. Jacob had 12 sons, and each of their families became a tribe of Israel. After a long time living as slaves in Egypt, they were freed by a man named Moses, who led them to the border of the promised land called Canaan. Then, a man named Joshua led the conquest of Canaan, and you can read many exciting stories about Israel in the Bible, including their struggles with other peoples like the Philistines, who were their toughest adversaries. It is said that the Philistines were part of a group of people called the Sea Peoples, who caused trouble in the eastern Mediterranean region a long time ago. About 1,000 years before Jesus was born, the 12 tribes of Israel, united under the rule of King Saul, which was called the United Monarchy. After Saul came a very famous king named David. Have you heard of him? He was very good in battles and expanded Israel's lands. One of David's greatest achievements was conquering a city called Jerusalem, which became the capital of the country. When his son Solomon became king, Israel became very wealthy, powerful, and beautiful. Solomon built an incredible temple where people could worship God and make sacrifices according to the laws of Moses. Inside this temple was a very special object called the Ark of the Covenant, a gold chest containing the 10 Commandments. Solomon was also known for being very wise, and he continued his father's important work, making Jerusalem an even more special city. Jerusalem is a very important city for Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Its ancient streets are filled with religious and spiritual stories from these religions. For Jews, Jerusalem is the most special city and the eternal capital of their people. It is mentioned many times in the Hebrew Bible and is especially important because of the 2 ancient temples, which were sacred places where people believed God lived. The Western Wall, which is a part of the Second Temple that still stands, is very important to Jews. They go there to pray and connect with their religious history. Additionally, Jerusalem is famous for being the place where Abraham offered his son Isaac to God as a sign of devotion and sacrifice. For Christians, Jerusalem is very special because of Jesus Christ. Many important events in Jesus' life happened there, such as his crucifixion, resurrection, and ascension to heaven. A very important place is the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where it is believed that Jesus was crucified, buried, and resurrected. There are also other special places like the Via Dolorosa, the path Jesus walked carrying the cross, the Garden of Gethsemane where he prayed before being arrested, and the Mount of Olives from where he ascended to heaven. These holy places make Jerusalem a very important destination for Christians with deep spiritual significance for those who follow this faith. In Islam, Jerusalem is greatly respected, especially a place called Al-Haram al-Sharif, or the Noble Sanctuary. This sacred site includes two very important places, the Dome of the Rock and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. According to Islamic stories, the Dome of the Rock marks where Muhammad began his journey to heaven. The Al-Aqsa Mosque, located within the Noble Sanctuary, is considered the third holiest mosque for Muslims after the Al-Haram Mosque in Mecca and the Prophet's Mosque in Medina. These special places in Jerusalem hold great significance for Muslims around the world. Although Jerusalem is very important to three different religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, it is also a place with many religious and political tensions happening all the time. This happens because ancient religious history is mixed with modern life in the city. For example, Jews have had difficulties finding a place to worship since their ancient temples were destroyed. For Jews, worshiping in temples and synagogues is very important, and they even want to build a third temple, as written in ancient prophecies. But this has been very difficult to achieve so far. These difficulties in Jerusalem show how delicate it is to balance religious beliefs, history, and current events. The city reminds us that seeking peace, understanding others, and living together requires a lot of care and attention. Jerusalem is a place where many important things come together: faith, history, and hope for the future. Therefore, it is important for people of different religions and cultures to talk to each other and try to find a way to live together peacefully. It is a challenge, but it is something very important for the whole world. The construction of the Third Temple is of enormous significance to the Jewish community because the temple is deeply connected to the history, spirituality, and fundamental beliefs of the Jewish faith. In ancient times in Jerusalem, the first and second temples were more than just beautiful buildings. They were the heart of Jewish worship and the place where it was believed God lived. According to Jewish tradition and sacred texts, these temples were built in Jerusalem on the Temple Mount. They were the center of worship and where people felt the strongest divine presence. For Jews, the Third Temple is very special. They believe it will be the place where God will once again reside, renewing the divine connection with the people. At the core of this belief is the idea that the temple houses the Shekinah, which is like the manifestation of God on earth, especially in the most sacred place, the Holy of Holies. This connection with the divine was so strong that the reconstruction of the Third Temple is seen as a spiritual hope, a desire to reestablish the intimate relationship between God and the Jewish people. The Bible addresses issues of the Temple Mount and the reconstruction of the temple, and one of the most notable prophecies related to the Temple Mount comes from the book of Ezekiel. In Ezekiel 40:48, the prophet envisions a detailed description of a future temple and its surrounding area, including dimensions, layout, and various rituals that will take place in this magnificent building. In Ezekiel 43:7, God declares, "Son of man, this is the place of my throne and the place for the soles of my feet. This is where I will live among the Israelites forever." These biblical prophecies related to the Temple Mount have captivated believers' imaginations for centuries. The anticipation of its reconstruction and restoration continues to inspire faith and hope among those who long for the fulfillment of these divine promises. Besides its spiritual dimensions, the temple had immense cultural and religious value. It was the center of Jewish worship, a symbol of heritage, traditions, and deeply rooted values, strengthening the bonds among the people. In reality, the Third Temple represents much more than just stones and mortar. It embodies the essence of Jewish spirituality, the promise of redemption, and the eternal connection between God and His chosen people. What have been the challenges preventing the construction, and what measures are currently being taken to complete the construction of the temple? The prospect of building a new temple in Israel is a matter of profound significance but faces considerable challenges. This is due to the sensitivity of the holiest sites in Islam, such as the iconic Dome of the Rock, a lasting symbol of Jerusalem's rich heritage. Therefore, any attempt to build a new Jewish temple on this sacred ground is almost guaranteed to generate strong opposition, not only from the Muslim world, but also from various parts concerned with regional stability. The magnitude of this challenge cannot be overstated. It encompasses political, cultural, and religious dimensions, and is deeply rooted in the region's complex history. The quest for the construction of the temple represents not just the restoration of a sacred site, but also the hope for peace and understanding among people of different beliefs. The prospect of building a new temple in Israel is very important, but faces many challenges because of the holiest sites in Islam, such as the iconic Dome of the Rock, which is a very important symbol in Jerusalem. Therefore, any attempt to build a new Jewish temple on this special site will likely face strong opposition, not only from Muslims, but also from many others concerned with peace in the region. The magnitude of this challenge cannot be overstated. It involves political, cultural, and religious issues, and is deeply tied to the region's complicated history. The Temple Mount is a place of great religious significance for both Jews and Muslims. Trying to build a new temple there will certainly meet with much resistance and could increase tensions in the region. Therefore, it is important to handle these issues delicately and carefully, considering the interests and wishes of all parties involved, while working to find a path that promotes peace and peaceful coexistence among everyone. In summary, the construction of the Third Temple in Jerusalem is a matter of deep spiritual and cultural significance for the Jewish community. Besides being an expression of faith and connection with God, the temple represents the hope for restoration and redemption. However, achieving this goal faces significant challenges, especially due to the sensitivity of the holy sites also revered by Islam. The Dome of the Rock in Jerusalem is a key example of this. The prospect of building a new Jewish temple there is bound to generate strong opposition. This issue transcends religious and political dimensions, influencing regional stability and coexistence among different faith communities. Therefore, the quest for the construction of the temple requires careful and sensitive approaches that consider the interests and concerns of all involved parties. Ultimately, the aspiration for peace and mutual understanding should guide efforts to resolve these complex and delicate issues in Jerusalem. The construction of the Third Temple in Jerusalem is often viewed in light of end-times prophecies, especially within Jewish, Christian, and Islamic religious traditions. Many believers consider the temple's reconstruction a crucial event that will play a significant role in the events leading up to the end of the world, according to their specific beliefs. Within Judaism, the reconstruction of the temple is seen as a sign of the fulfillment of messianic prophecies and a crucial step in the spiritual redemption and renewal of the Jewish people. According to some interpretations of Jewish scriptures, such as the Book of Daniel and Ezekiel's prophecies, the Third Temple will be built before the arrival of the Messiah, marking the beginning of a messianic era of peace and prosperity. For Christians, especially those who adhere to dispensationalist theology, the reconstruction of the temple is viewed as a significant prophetic event linked to the return of Jesus Christ and the period known as the Great Tribulation. Many believers think that the construction of the temple in Jerusalem is intrinsically tied to end-times prophecies across various religious traditions. They see this event as a sign that we are in the last days and that the world is moving towards the fulfillment of biblical and religious prophecies. This further increases the importance and sensitivity surrounding this issue, fueling hopes, fears, and debates about the future of humanity. The ongoing discussions and developments surrounding the potential construction of the Third Temple in Jerusalem are deeply emblematic of the broader challenges and aspirations that define human civilization. This issue, intertwined with religious, historical, and political complexities, serves as a microcosm of the global pursuit for understanding, peace, and coexistence. Jerusalem, with its rich tapestry of history, is a city where the past and present collide in profound ways. For millennia, it has been a focal point for the Jewish, Christian, and Islamic faiths, each of which holds the city in deep reverence. The desire to rebuild the Third Temple reflects not only a religious aspiration for many Jews, but also a yearning to reconnect with a sacred past and fulfill ancient prophecies. For Jews, the temple is not merely a physical structure, but a symbol of their enduring faith, a manifestation of divine presence, and a hope for spiritual renewal and redemption. However, the significance of the Temple Mount extends beyond Judaism. For Muslims, the Al-Aqsa Mosque and the Dome of the Rock are sacred sites that commemorate significant events in Islamic history. For Christians, Jerusalem is hallowed ground, the backdrop for pivotal moments in the life of Jesus Christ. This confluence of sacredness makes the Temple Mount one of the most sensitive and contested pieces of real estate in the world. Any move to alter the status quo is bound to evoke strong reactions from all sides. The notion of rebuilding the temple, therefore, is not just a matter of religious practice, but a potential flashpoint for conflict. The intertwined histories and claims of Jews, Christians, and Muslims have often led to tensions, and in a region already fraught with political strife, the addition of another layer of religious contention could have unpredictable and far-reaching consequences. The challenge lies in navigating these complex dynamics with sensitivity, wisdom, and a genuine commitment to peace. In this context, the efforts of the Temple Institute to prepare for the construction of the Third Temple can be seen as a testament to the enduring human spirit and the deep desire for fulfillment of religious prophecy. Their meticulous work in recreating ancient artifacts and their belief in the timely opportunity to begin construction underscore a profound faith in the eventual realization of their spiritual goals. Yet, these efforts must be viewed within the larger framework of interfaith relations and geopolitical realities. The possibility of the Third Temple's construction brings to the fore the need for dialogue and mutual understanding. It is essential to recognize and respect the deep-seated beliefs and historical grievances of all parties involved. The vision for the Third Temple, while rooted in Jewish eschatology, must be reconciled with the Islamic and Christian perspectives that also lay claim to the city's sacred spaces. This reconciliation is not just a religious imperative, but a political and social one as well. As the world watches these developments, there is a collective hope for a resolution that honors the diverse heritages and spiritual aspirations of Jerusalem's inhabitants and pilgrims. The quest for the Third Temple can serve as a powerful symbol of the broader human quest for meaning and connection. It can remind us of our shared humanity and the universal longing for a place where the divine and the mortal intersect. The journey towards constructing the Third Temple, therefore, is not just about building a physical structure, but about building bridges of understanding and cooperation. It challenges us to reflect on how we can honor our past while working towards a future of peace and coexistence. The path forward requires not only faith, but also empathy, diplomacy, and a steadfast commitment to peace. In conclusion, the story of the Third Temple is a narrative that transcends religious boundaries and speaks to the core of human experience. It is a story of faith, hope, and resilience, set against the backdrop of one of the world's most complex and storied cities. As we reflect on these developments, let us aspire to a future where the sacred can unite rather than divide, where the pursuit of spiritual fulfillment can lead to greater understanding and harmony among all peoples. We would like to know your opinion on everything discussed here. Feel free to leave your opinion in the comments. If you liked this video, leave your like, and if you want to follow the next contents, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. Thank you for watching this far, and I hope to see you in the next video. May God bless your life powerfully in the name of the Lord Jesus. Amen.